I won't be talking too much during the run.
And I'm Sam. So
I think Alu is like.
I'm Lord Alu. I'm here
as
as well.
Sorry.
Alright, so if someone wants to count it down, and then we can get started.
Eagle, do it. Count down. Should I count? I'm gonna count down. Okay.
Someone count down if it isn't right.
Go for it, fans.
Okay, I'm counting now. So okay, 3, 2, 1, go. Yay, and we're off.
If you guys are regular viewers of this game, you might remember Sam from AGDQ, where he played 80% hard. And you may remember from the future, Eagle will be playing at ESA this year. But this is, I believe, his marathon debut.
It's proper stadium echo style.
Is somebody comfortable reading the chat?
I think Alu was echoing it, but we moved him out to fix it.
Alright. Anyway. So, this is 90%. So we had a really good fusion race earlier, and it was really close. And somebody was saying that fusion races are really good for marathons because they're always close. And I was thinking about that. I think, like, you're a fusion runner, so you know this better than I do. But I was thinking fusion, you know, even though it has idle RNG and stuff, it's kind of a low variance run overall.
I agree, yes, it is. There is not a lot of things that can go, like, horribly wrong. At most, you're losing, like, a second or two every time you fail anything.
So Zero Mission 80% is not really like that.
No, not really.
Obviously, these guys are pretty consistent at most things, but there are still a couple of things that can gain or lose a huge amount of time. About 15 minutes in, there's a pretty cool trick called Acid Worm Skip, and that can be an issue. And then after that, we got some pretty heavy RNG stuff, but hopefully that won't decide the race.
But I mean, already right now, there's a lot of variants in Brinstar, the first area.
Yes, so we got this first boss, which is not a long fight, but often considered one of the hardest, if not the hardest. It looks like Sam
got the double, yeah.
Sam nailed it, alright, whereas Eagle is waiting for drops. So what Sam did there is he hit the boss with 2 missiles on the same frame, which is not easy to do. It works very differently in doubles and fusion, because the guy's hitbox is, like, really awkward.
It's just smaller.
Yeah.
Like, it's just
a little head start.
We're
Both
getting
of
that
them
help.
are entering... Yeah. Both of them are entering Hybrid with 4 missiles, which is great.
Which is perfect, yeah. There is
Neither
a
of
lot of
them.
issues with getting drops after that fight, and occasionally you just get shafted in that shaft.
But
So,
never in a marathon.
Never in a marathon. So if you like don't get good drops there, you're gonna have to conclude this room without being able to kill the hives quickly, and that ends up horrible because bugs are really hard to handle if they actually catch up to you.
That room used to be kind of everyone's least favorite. There's a lot of stuff going on. There are a lot of very complicated enemy patterns to keep track of. The setup those guys did there, involving going all the way to the right, luring some enemies, and then going back, is slightly slow, but not very slow, and it gives you a lot of extra consistency.
Yeah, it's by far the most consistent way through that room, but it is one of the slower ways through that room. But pretty much any faster strat is very, very liable to fail, and failing is slower than doing the consistent stat in the first place. So most people have started doing it more consistently because it was too annoying trying to get actual good run through that room.
We got a small lead for Sam after the most annoying part of the run, which is the start. The next 10 minutes or so should be not too hard, but
I'm assuming both of these are
rather not jinx the runners.
I'm assuming both of these are gonna try to skip the heal in Norfair.
Oh yeah.
I'll be trying it anyway.
Yeah. So if you do go for that, missile like resource management in general becomes pretty hard from here up until you grab Ice Beam, where a lot of people like I don't want to say a lot of people, but it's One way to do it is to just grab ammo refill at high speed, but if you get your resources, if you handle your resources well, you don't actually have to, and that saves a couple of seconds.
Yeah, ammo is a really big bottleneck in this game, in both categories, really. You need to have a lot of missiles early on for the Cocoon mini-boss, who takes 18 to kill.
Yes.
And then you want to have a lot of missiles for Tyrion, even though you don't need a lot of missiles for Tyrion, but
You mostly
having...
mostly need a lot of ammo for Ridley as well.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, having a higher cap ends up being faster than skipping items, because otherwise you have to end up farming in Tyrion.
Yeah.
So the route for this category is, I mean, it's not intended route, but it's, you know, I think everybody knows at this point that the developers put in a pretty sensible way to do Ridley first. That ends up being a better way to do any percent. It's not, it's not obvious. There's been a lot of debate about it over the years.
It's not that much faster.
Yeah.
Which is really interesting how such a big change in route early on can have such a small significance. But by now we're pretty sure that like Ridley first is definitely faster and for the most part easier as well. So.
Yeah, that's true.
It's definitely easier if you like follow the new glitches.
So you get super missiles a lot earlier by doing it this way, and that's helpful for the Kraid fight in particular. You also get high jump, which is nice.
And power grab, which is also nice. There's a lot of good upgrades on the way to Ridley that are very useful in Kraid.
So this category is not very heavy on... Yeah, this category is not very heavy on bomb jumping. This is, I guess, the longest one. Bomb jumping is something that sort of people who...
I guess that fell down.
People who don't run this game or are sort of new to running this game think bomb jumping is one of the biggest deals. But once you've been playing it for a while, it's kind of second nature. But it still trips you up every now and again, especially in a marathon setting.
So Eagle was kind of notorious for being bad at bomb jumping for a while. That's not really the case anymore, but we still...
No, he got over it, thankfully.
We still kind of bully him for it a bit.
Both players going for a really stupid strat where you unmorph skip a ledge, which is not worth it.
I didn't see if Sam got it. Eagle got
it. Sam got it. Eagle did.
Yeah, Sam, you should actually get it. So I don't call it stupid when Sam does it anymore. But Eagle lost time for sure. But so yeah.
So both players, I think, should be able to skip the hill. Well, Sam definitely. Eagle doesn't have full health, but it's only 3, so...
Yeah, it should be fine.
Eagle skipping a missile, that's pretty bold.
This race is still really close, which is fun.
Oh yeah, I should hope so. We're only, 8 minutes in or something. So I guess we're pretty much intended right up to here, so here's Ice Beam. And then after this is when we're going to deviate. Eagle don't go recoil. I respect it in a marathon.
Yeah, it was sort of fishy. He probably could have done without it, but it would have been close.
We got a big echo suddenly. Oh, there we go, it's fixed.
I think Alu has audio issues.
So we'll see at the next boss if Sam regrets his choice, but hopefully it'll be alright.
Sam had a new strat.
Ooh.
Oh, he's gonna go for new strat really hard. Yeah, Sam has a new strength for that repair. He's really intent on showing that off.
No, it was because I really didn't want to fall.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, a lot of the floor there is fake, and if you fall through it, it's not good for you.
Yeah, it's very bad. So I guess Sam is grabbing this missile pack early because he's sort of low-ish on the missiles.
No,
Yeah.
please.
Okay. That sounds bad.
Oh dear.
Okay. Sam has controller issues.
Alright, technical issues, please stand by.
That's all on Sam though. I think that's his.
I
Sam
need
was-
to do that.
Sam was aware of the risks going into the race. Eagle will take that, I believe.
So Sam's controller, he's playing on SP, and it has a tendency to randomly die occasionally. And he's been talking about getting a new one for like months, but I don't know. It doesn't happen. He just keeps complaining.
Exactly.
Now he gets what he's coming to.
Worth mentioning, Eagle had a really good fight there. The strats for that boss have evolved quite a lot. Sam actually did most of the research on developing the newer strats.
Right.
And it's gotten to a point where the fight is pretty polished.
The fight goes really smoothly when it works, but if you make any sort of mistake, it quickly turns into like a weird scramble to get anything working. So there's a lot going on in the fight, but it's all nothing is random. So we have very consistent strats. But since there's so much going on, we don't really know how to handle anything past the first 5 seconds of the fight.
If the chat wants a closer race, they can donate to buy Sam in USP.
It's fine. There are equalizers coming. This is still anyone's game, really.
The Eagle had a pretty good side hopper room. That room is one of the most annoying in the run.
Yes.
Having charge beam helps a lot because you get guaranteed freezes on those enemies.
But there are just so many enemies in that room that can move to different either directions. It's really hard to actually react to where everything is.
For me personally, this is I hate this part of the game. If I could get a safety E-tank early before Ridley, I would. It's really easy to die here. You run into too many side overs.
I mean, I've done this part a lot now, but I don't think it's that usual to die, but you end up having not enough health to do the second side of the corridor quickly.
So the route gets supers here, which is it's not really early, but those are not the
It's sort of early.
missile tank you're supposed to get first. Take a kind of back path into Ridley's lair, which allows you to skip the boss that's supposed to give you the first super pack.
Is Eagle not grabbing the extra energy tank? Oh, Eagle is playing really brave.
Alright, so there's
Fighting
an energy tank.
really like this might kill you.
Yeah, sure. There's an
But
energy
Eagle
tank
is
behind
not.
Ridley you can get. It's common to skip it in serious runs, but for a marathon, I would recommend
Seems
it
to be
personally.
fine though. Sam said he was gonna grab the safety tank, but he's changing
Yeah, I
his
think
mind
after a challenge like that, he's not going back down. I'm sure he'll be fine.
Oh, Eagle got no stupid bumps. That's sad.
Excellent. Oh no, the person in front should have better RNG. I think that's fine.
Sam seemed to have survived as well, but that's good. So yeah, now we you need 4 supers, or 3 technically, to fight Kraid, and since we don't take any real refill on the way to Kraid, we need those from drops. If you're lucky, you can get them from Ridley. Ridley is pretty nice about dropping supers. But if you don't, you need to find them someplace else. These owls in Ridley have a 70% drop rate of supers, but that sort of tends to not work anyway, and it's really frustrating when you can't get 2 supers.
Ooh,
I got one from a
drop
bag.
from a pack bug. That's nice.
Well, Sam's going really hardcore. He's not even grabbing the second safety.
Oh dear. Okay. All right. So Sam's probably gonna die at some point.
Sam is going all out. One big reason to grab that second E-tank, not only having more maximum health, but to get a health refill right there, which
Yeah.
lets you get more missile drops on the way to crate. And the missiles, while not super important, are still useful. So they both at least got the supers they need. That's good.
So tiny detour to get high jump, and then it's straight over to Kraid. And we're already coming up to the worst part of the game, so get hyped for that.
Word on the street is that both of these players have had issues with doing asynchronous skip lately, so it's gonna be exciting.
Yeah, chat's raising a good point. I read that the runner's gonna skip the hill and stuff. Because the way Sam is playing, there's a risk that he will.
I'm definitely gonna heal. It's always worth it.
Okay, that's getting the heal. Well, we can talk about that later. But yeah, I would not skip the heal in a marathon. Eagle is doing really old strats to that room and making me disappointed.
So a small lead for Eagle coming out of north there.
I'm doing slightly newer strats, but still not up to date. Guys, please.
Oh, yeah.
This part of the run is kind of, a bit of a cooldown with some fairly simple platforming, but it just, like, when I'm playing this bit of the run, your mind is just focused on the stuff coming up. It's,
really.
It's really scary.
As soon as you get your supers, like all the way from Ridley up to like the entrance of the crate area, you're just worried about can I get asynchronous skip or not.
Yeah.
But
I
this
mean,
part
and maybe
is
we're
really
talking up a bit. Like, the strat is consistent enough that it's expected that you'll get it in a run, but it's still scary.
It's close though. I think both these are gonna do the 4-bomb method, which is just planning a bunch of bombs and hope that they propel you high enough to get.
Yeah.
to
So the idea
village.
is there are a bunch of blocks in this room, and the last one is pretty far away from the ledge you need to get to. But with a weird setup, you can lay a bomb block and then still get blasted by the bomb. So Eagle made it across
Eagle
first
get it.
try. So.
Good job. All the pressure is on Sam.
Yes.
It sounds like fun. I'm not sure though. Yeah,
Alright,
okay,
that's
nice
good.
work.
That's good. Good work, guys. So yeah, normally you would have to activate zip lines to get through that room, which requires going to the Easter Crate and fighting a boss, which is not very fast. It's kind of unclear to what extent being able to skip that stuff is intended by the developers. Like, we know the developers knew about HBJ.
Yeah. I don't think it was intentional, but I think they knew about it and decided to not fix it. That's what I choose to believe.
Whether they knew about the non-HBJ strat at all, we don't know.
So Trade dies really quickly with supers.
Yeah, that's not a particularly tough boss fight as far as they go.
No.
Metroid runners are pretty proud of their very quick looks, but I think this one puts them to shame. So here we get Speed Booster. I mean, we're kind of, late through the run as far as getting items goes, so Speed Booster isn't going to play a huge part, but it's still pretty nice, and there are still one or two very important strats with it.
Well, one of them is just getting out of crate period.
Oh yeah.
Since we don't since we skip Acid Worm and as such skip activating the zip lines, you actually can't get out of this area normally. You have to do this Shine Spark across the Acid Pit. It's the only way out.
Yeah, unless you're a task.
Oh yeah, unless you're Taz and you're crazy. You can like freeze the videos, but it's so like that's hard for a Tasker to do.
I mean, even if it was possible for a human to do, I'm pretty sure it would be slower than just picking up Speed Booster, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, that's pretty much exclusively a low percent thing. So I guess
So one of the
is
interesting
grabbing the refill here, yeah. So that's the refill before
Yeah.
turning.
One of the things about this category is figuring out the amount of ammo you want to have at Turian,
Right.
and the most popular amongst like good players, I guess, is to have 50 missiles and 6 supers.
Yes.
And to get that all-important third super, you want to do this pretty crazy Shine Spark chain, which it's I don't know. I want to say it's easier than it looks. Like it looks really
I think
hard.
so too, but it takes a fair bit of practice to get it to be
Yeah,
easy.
when you're first learning it, it's really hard. But then once you've done it a few times, it's kind of muscle memory.
Yeah.
And both players got it, no
Both
problem.
got nice. So 50 and 6 is the most commonly used route because it allows a lot of versatility in Turian. You need roughly 50 missiles and 4 supers, or 40 missiles and 6 supers to beat Mother Brain. So that allows you to take a bit of risk and like use a couple of extra supers, and you don't have to rely on getting them back before actually fighting Mother Brain. That's nice. Yeah, it is a bit slower, like specifically grabbing the super is a bit slower. There is a super we could grab later on, which is way faster,
Right.
but the added stability and versatility in Turian usually makes up for that slight time loss right now.
The time it takes to grab that super, you're not at all guaranteed to make that back in Turian, but
No, absolutely not.
on average, your runs are going to be a lot more likely to be able to continue. So it's still a small lead for Eagle, but it is pretty small. So it could be
Turian-
reversed just
Turian
from drops.
RNG, yeah. Getting super drops from Metroids in Turian is really important, especially in 90%.
Yeah.
So if any player gets better luck than the other here, you could either widen or close the space between the players.
So even with 56, you don't have enough ammo for the final room. Well, okay, you do if you have like literally full, but
Yeah.
well, it'll be interesting to see what these runners do in this case, because what's fairly common practice is to kill the first couple of Zebatites and then farm, so you have enough to clear the rest of the room. But there's a fairly recent school of thought of farming up to full before entering the final room at all.
It
Depends
sort
on
of
how good
depends.
your drops are.
Yeah, it sort of depends on what drops you get from the Metroids. Really.
Eagle's drops
you-
have been pretty great.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
need super stones.
Sam gets nuns.
So yeah, with Eagle's drops, I would kill the sets first, or maybe like try to get a super drop first.
Nah, he's
No,
just
I-
going for the Zebs,
he's
and that's
gonna-
fair enough.
So you destroy 2 Zebatites and then go back to the farm. And after you've destroyed these 2, 50 missiles and 4 supers is enough to clear the rest of the room. So getting a super would be nice, but not necessary during the farm.
Yeah.
Green Rinkas have way better drop rates than red Rinkas, so we're gonna focus on killing them during farm. Oh, he got a super at the last second. That's more annoying than anything else.
Well, it's not bad. 'Cause if you have,
Stan might be doing early farm. Stan got a super drop.
oh, that's good.
You got another super drop. That's not as good.
If you have the right amount of ammo, then you have like exactly the right amount of ammo, so you can't waste missiles. So the way Eagles got that drop, it's kind of a nice safety net. But yeah, Sam went for the early farm, and it looks like he got decent drops, so it should be fine.
He got 2, so that's like barely enough. Yeah, he's barely fine, as long as he doesn't miss anything else.
Oh, he missed one, it looks like.
He's gonna need one more drop from Rinka. Yeah.
Yeah.
There we go. Fine. He's not using supers on the glass though.
He probably should use two. No?
Spoilers.
No, that's fine too.
Make something.
A little bit of confusion between strats. There we go.
And running against Mother Brain once she's dying like that actually lets you get speed booster. Because Mother Brain in that case doesn't actually count as a wall. She just forces your position to be to the right of where she is. So running against her still adds momentum to initiate your speed booster.
Right, so Eagles reach the puppy break part of the run. So stealth, like if you worked 100% yesterday, stealth is identical. You have less health.
You have less health, yeah.
Is not relevant. Or it shouldn't be.
Should I skip the heal?
No.
Probably not.
Well, if you want to make this race closer, you could die and give Sam a chance to catch up.
Yeah, I think that would make it less close.
I mean, you can do what you want, but I would not recommend skipping the heal. So there's a heal at the start of Suit that you can do. You start Suit with all your energy tanks empty, so you just have 99 health regardless of how much health you had before. But there's a refill right at the start, which you can grab if you want to. You don't need it anywhere. There's no... it ends up being slower because you don't need to take damage anywhere into this anyway. But all the pirates do 100 damage on pretty much any hit, so getting hit once is an instant death if you do not take the refill. And I mean, you shouldn't get hit by any pirate, but it might happen, and it's pretty risky. Obviously, an actual a run that's actually going for a world record or something would not grab the heal.
You could still heal and get roll record.
Very
It's just a second or two, really. So.
It's not that much, but it is slower.
But it makes the Charlie fight more consistent. So.
We'll get to Charlie later on. But yeah, pirates in general are not random at all. There are very slight things about them that are random, but mostly they're very, very consistent and move almost exclusively depending on your position in the stage at various time points. So they're pretty much all the rooms in Sudas have very consistent setups for getting through, either without getting detected or with letting the alarm run out as quickly as possible.
I need to play out the map, so that's good. Looks like... oh, no. Okay. Both players got the alarm turning off pretty quickly in the first run, and we've got tripwire skip coming up on Sam's stream.
Yeah,
easy.
both guys got that. That's actually a lot harder than Twix. I think that's way harder.
It's really difficult, yeah.
It's a really tight wall jump to actually not hit the tripwire.
Got a cool trick coming up on Eagle's stream. Oh,
It's not going right.
Man.
It's understandable, honestly. That trick.
No,
is...
it's not.
I mean, I don't think Eagle is that consistent with it yet. So
Too bad.
there's a way to get through that without pausing to wait for the searchlight, but it's sort of awkward and that's a weird timing to it.
So Sam's gonna get it.
You think so?
I've been pretty inconsistent.
Okay, I believe in you, Sam. I believe you. We'll see.
There it is.
Nice.
Beautiful.
Good job.
We know who the moral winner is anyway.
It is possible to go completely undetected through Suitless, but it's for at least 2 places it is not faster. I think 3. No, two. The first one is actually really hard to do properly and actually not get detected, and it doesn't really save any time. It saves a tiny bit, not anything with it. And there are two places where we get caught on purpose because waiting is slow. But it is possible. So Ego is doing the quote-unquote Sam strat, or trying to. In this room, you can get the alarm to.
Oh, I didn't
screwed it up. You can get the alarm to shut off by doing a very specific set of movements in that room. Like we said, all the pirates are very consistent in their movement, but there are a lot of pirates in that room. So if any one of them sees you after you freeze the first one, the alarm is gonna reset. Let's see if Sandriddle is the originator of this trick, hence it's called Samstat. So we'll see if he can do it.
The advantage is Eagle just had to go into the save room to turn off the alarm, and if the alarm goes off here, then you can go through the next sequence of rooms with the alarm off, saving
Sam
a
got
tiny
it.
bit of time.
Sam got it.
Of course.
It only saves like 2 transitions really. It saves virtually no in-game time, but it saves real time through your transitions.
We got the hold left strats going on in Eagle's stream. So coming up, the boss's stealth is, I mean, it's not quite Phantom, but it's the closest we've got. There's a lot of luck involved, but, well, this applies less to Sam, I guess, because he only has 1 E-tank. But you can make this fight a lot faster by taking damage intentionally, because the boss becomes vulnerable after a random length of time, and if you take damage, then the time until the boss becomes vulnerable gets reset to a new value, which is generally shorter.
Yes.
So if you take the heal, you can do that on every round of the boss, but if you skip the heal, you can only do it once, and you probably don't even want to do it then.
Yeah, because shooting yourself like that it's 50